This week on LCARA Ham Radio, we're going to take a look at installing the FTM-300D that I picked up at Hamvention in Xenia, Ohio. Installing this into a Ford F-150 can be a little bit challenging, both from just getting it installed power-wise to the antenna. Let's take a look this week on LCARA Ham Radio. Well, the first thing we needed to do was take out the box and we're doing a quick little beauty shot here. Again, I picked this up in Xenia, Ohio. They were running a special. They had a discount on top of a discount, and my FTM-400 had kind of quit on me. So here we're opening up the box. We're not going to do an unboxing per se, but we just kind of wanted to show you everything in the box. And Chris and I thought, well, let's show a few of the components and so forth. In fact, there's more stuff in here than I actually needed. But the cool thing about buying these mobile radios is a lot of people will use these as a base station as well. So you've got brackets and all kinds of things in here.
That'll be the head unit cable.
Also, in this particular installation, I had to augment this particular radio and some of the cabling and so forth, where I ended up putting the actual head unit up front with the radio in the back of the truck. I needed to extend my microphone, so I ended up purchasing a Yaesu extension. There's the head unit. Then we open up the main section. There's the radio. And a lot of these FTM radios from Yaesu look the same, but of course the 300, 400, and now the new 500 have a very similar look. Here we have most of the components out, looking at the power and so forth. We'll need to put some Anderson power poles on the end of those leads. The main body of the radio, microphone. Microphone actually has a mute button. And there's the head for this particular radio that will be up front, where the driver and passenger will be. You see that piece of plastic on there. That's going to reoccur throughout this video. Mic bracket, which I didn't use. Plus, the radio also has a bracket for mounting permanently to a piece of wood or your desk, and that's on the bottom of the radio in this case. I didn't use that either. Now, let's head out to the truck. So we're at KY4CKP's place. Chris has done these radio installations many, many times. So he, I say many, at least 3 or 4 times on his various vehicles. So now we're just looking at what kind of battery connections do we have to connect the radio to. The power leads coming off the radio are already fused or have inline fuses. Next, we're looking at where do we come into the cab of the truck. Now, a lot of people will try to go through the firewall. There's actually a couple of firewall access points on the F-150 on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, or the driver's side or the passenger side. But those were extremely difficult to get to, and the one on the driver's side already had a lot of wires going through it. So there was actually a pass-through at the bottom of the truck, so we would need to run our cabling with some braid along the bottom and tie it to the underside of the truck and then up through the floor. You can see a little bit of the carpeting or the padding there on the bottom. And then we'll come up and utilize the side rail, the channel there, for actually running the cable to the back. There's the actual piece of rubber that keeps that hole from having dirt and water coming up into the floor. We ended up putting a star hole through it so that we could route our power cable up through that. Now, the other thing that we needed to look at was, where do we mount the head of the radio? We were looking at under the seat. Can we mount the body of the radio under the seat? This particular truck has heated and cooled seats. There's so much plumbing underneath the seats, it's not really a good location for the body of the radio. So we were looking at putting it behind the passenger seat in the back, but that actually didn't look too good. So we ended up putting it under the seat. There's actually a compartment, which we'll see in a few minutes. Now, I also purchased a Lido extension here, or basically a unit here that allows the head unit to stick up from the passenger seat, but we needed access to a bolt on the seat, and there was a decent amount of plastic around it, so we had to use a Dremel to cut away some of that plastic so we could actually install that Lido mount. Here we have the bolt back in, and then we pushed the Lido mount underneath it and used a ratchet extension to tighten that down. And you can see that Lido mount is very flexible where you can bend it so you can put that head unit and have it facing the driver. We're back under the hood here. We're going to actually start connecting the wires. Now this was actually a little bit of a harness that Chris had left over from a previous project, but we needed to put Anderson power poles on the leads coming from the radio. So I've done just that, and then also ensured that those won't be coming apart laterally. If you haven't installed Anderson power poles, we have videos on that. Here we've got the braid surrounding the power line coming in from the battery underneath the truck up through the floor, and this is underneath the seat in the back. You've got a compartment that basically is about 2/3 the width of the truck, and that's where I ended up putting the head unit. At the moment, it's just kind of free floating back there, but I'll need to probably utilize some type of a Velcro. So here you can see the power being connected to the negative and positive sides of the battery. Now, the next piece that I always thought was really cool with Chris's installations is that he installs an external speaker, and he puts that speaker right behind his head, connected or attached to the headrest. So we're going to use a little bit of stainless there, or some steel with those holes. I forget the actual name for that. And we're going to bend this in half to get the length that we need. We're also bending it in half to get the rigidity that we need. So Chris is utilizing his mallet here with his vise. And we're going to bend that over to get pretty close to equal halves of this, this strap. And then he'll pound this a little bit more on the anvil side of this vise and get that nice and flat. He's done this before, and I was really impressed with how it turned out. So I thought, why not do this on my installation? Next, he gets out the drill, or in this case, the ability to drill as wide as you want. We needed 2 of these, and the grommets are going to go in. So the actual the headrest support posts will go through these holes.
Is that in good now? Pretty close. Yeah. The metal's a bit thick. Yeah. But again, I think we'll be fine once the heat shrink is on.
And speaking of heat shrink, Chris gets out his heat gun. Now he's using a 3-in-1 or 3-2-1 heat shrink. There's no glue in this, but we're going to shrink this down, and this gives it a rubber coating so that when it's behind your head, you don't see the raw strap of metal there. You'll see just a black bar.
And I just kind of thought, oh, heat shrink. I think I saw something where somebody heat shrinked something instead of maybe painting it, and I was like, oh.
So
yeah,
we have that piece of metal bent in 2. We also have the grommets underneath, and then we'll need to drill some holes through to the grommets so that the actual headrest supports can go through.
Grommet, right?
It's stretching a little bit, so then it comes back in.
So he's going to be very careful with this drill. He's got a pretty big head on it, but we just want to remove a little bit of material of the heat shrink so that we can actually see the holes going through the grommet. We'll do this on both sides. We've done it now on both sides, and now what Chris is doing is fitting this on the support poles or support elements of the headrest.
Perfect.
And with those grommets, you actually have to push that down pretty hard, so this is not going to be flopping on that headrest, which is really nice.
Man, that's going on good.
So from a fitment perspective, it really couldn't have been any better. We were really pleased with this. And again, that black heat shrink, it kind of just blends in, so you don't notice it as much. And then the speaker will mount to the left of the headrest.
And this isn't, yours is a lot tighter than mine.
So now we're marking the holes that we're going to need to drill for the speaker mount. And out comes a drill bit.
Or some of them have smokers, and they go, oh yeah.
And then it's time for the other hole on the other side. So now that
How many hand models are we going to use for this part?
It's like an octopus.
so now Chris is attaching the speaker using the included screws, washers, and nuts. There were wood screws, and then there were basically the finer threaded screws or machine screws. So Chris is putting on his star washer, then another washer, and then the nut. Finishing up on the other side. So now the speaker is mounted to the folded strap contained within the heat shrink, and then we'll reattach it to the headrest. We actually had to go to a big box store to get the strap, but again, Chris had some laying around. It just wasn't long enough. But now you can see that speaker and how it's mounted right next to your head. You will not have to turn up the volume very loud to hear what's going on your radio. And then the wire coming off the speaker just goes down the seat underneath the floor panels I've got down on the bottom, the floor mats, and then into the back end storage compartment.
KY4BDP mobile.
Testing the radio to see if we can hit a local repeater, and we've got a chunk back. It was really loud with that speaker.
Right. KY4BDP mobile radio check.
And you can see with this Lido mount, it positions that head unit so it's pointing right at the driver, and that's what makes that mount so really useful. Is it's incredibly flexible to get it in the right orientation.
KY4BDP mobile radio test.
Welcome to the KY4SW repeater.
This is a repeater in Lexington, Kentucky. And we're trying to see if we can get somebody to come back, but this day there weren't too many people monitoring the repeater. Now this is the antenna mount. This is from Bulletproof Diesel, and I'm using a Comet antenna that I'd had before. These F-150s are aluminum body, so there's no place where I can put something like a compact antenna right now. So I'm utilizing this, and this goes right behind the center backlight.
With their call sign? It could be called a KY4CKP bracket.
But look at that speaker in that bracket mount. It looks custom, like it was made for that, and in fact it was. So folks, these kinds of projects of just installing a radio in a vehicle can be challenging, but if you put a couple of good minds to it, mainly KY4CKPs, you can figure out exactly how to get this installed, and it looks very professional. We hope you like content like this. If you do, subscribe and hit that thumbs up, and give us some comments down at the bottom as to what you think about the installation. For the Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association, I'm KY4BDP Brian. 73, everybody, and thanks for watching.